Welcome to Daily Variety, your daily dose of news and analysis for entertainment industry insiders. It's Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. I'm your host, Cynthia Littleton. I am co-editor-in-chief of Variety alongside Ramin Satuda. I'm in LA, he's in New York, and Variety has reporters around the world covering the business of entertainment. In today's episode, we'll hear from Shari Redstone on her new investment in Israeli production banner Sipur. The former Paramount Global chair explains what drew her to the company and how Sipur's work in content dovetails with the focus of her philanthropic work. And then we'll hear from Variety's business editor Todd Spangler and TV news editor Joe Otterson on the latest buzz around Shari Redstone's old shop as Paramount prepares to make an offer for Warner Brothers Discovery. And we'll talk about the mood at CBS these days after the long and bruising Paramount-Skydance merger process. But before we get to that, here are a few headlines just in this morning that you need to know. Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston are keeping busy. Apple TV Plus has renewed the morning show for Season 5. Congrats, Michael Ellenberg. The surest sign of the fall is news from Hallmark Channel on its countdown to Christmas schedule. My colleague Emily Longaretta has the scoop on the 24 movies and other content lined up for Yuletide season. Another sure sign of the fall is news alerts from corporate giants on third-quarter earnings reports. Comcast's third-quarter numbers will be out October 30th. All of these stories and so much more can be found on Variety.com right now. Now we turn to conversations with industry leaders and Variety journalists about news and trends in show business. Today our guest is Shari Redstone, the former Paramount Global chair who just 6 weeks ago sold her family's media empire to David Ellison and Skydance Media. Redstone wasn't looking to jump into a big new media business opportunity so quickly, but Sipur was too good for her to pass up. Redstone explains why, and she addresses the challenges facing Israeli businesses amid the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and strife in the region. And she discusses the future of her long-running Advanced Capital investment venture. Shari Redstone, thank you so much for joining me today. We got the word that you have become a board member and an investor in Sipur, which is a very dynamic production company out of Israel. They did a powerful October 7th documentary that we covered quite a bit. Shari, tell me, what is it about Sipur and the management team there that made you want to make this investment and also lend your name and all of the clout that you bring to their board of directors?
I met Emilio right around the time of We Will Dance Again coming out. We worked together on getting the premiere on Paramount Plus. And the more I got to know him, the more I got to meet his team and understand what it was that he was doing, the more excited I got about this opportunity. To be honest, I was not looking to get involved in another business. I was really looking to focus on my foundation and the work that I'm doing. But the reality is there's a real consistency between the work that he is doing and the work that I am doing in my foundation. They create great content. They have a phenomenal team. They have a differentiated business model. And they have a vision to be the first international production studio out of Israel. And it's not just a vision. It's something they're already executing on and have achieved success with. So it just became very exciting to me. They asked me to come in and chair the board, and that's what I'm going to do. And working with the incredible team that Emilio has put together and Gideon, who has been with him from the beginning. And I think it's a super opportunity.
Can you give us a sense of the scope of your involvement?
I would say I'm going to give it a significant amount of my time. I look at being involved with them at least on a weekly basis, doing management meetings with the team, working with Emilio in between. I'm bringing somebody with me from National Amusements who I've worked with for years, who's going to also strengthen what we're going to be able to bring to the table. And this is a very serious venture for me, both from a business perspective and also because I think there's a real opportunity to create content there that will have an impact. They not only have created commercial content, which has a great track record. Bad Boys was one of the top 10 global hits on Netflix, but they're also continuing to create documentaries that tell the stories that need to be told. So I am very much all in.
They're doing a lot of different genres, which is it will be good for diversity of the portfolio. What are the advantages for a company that is based in Israel that is aiming for the global market?
The reason why I think it's so important to be in Israel and why I think they have done a great job is that in Israel and frankly in other international markets, there's a lot of incredible creative talent, both on the screen and off the screen. There are a lot of people there who know how to tell great stories, and you can tap into that creative talent with a very different financial model than what you have here in the United States. And I think because of some of the challenges that exist in Israel, we work even harder to find the right people to work with. I'm super excited about what we're going to be able to bring to the entertainment world.
I know this is a big question, but obviously we are in a moment of just incredible strife right now in the world, and much of it involves Israel, criticism of the government, the war in Gaza. Do you think that the controversy, the drama surrounding the government of Israel are going to make it more challenging for a company like Sipur to grow?
Yes, I do. We're seeing the boycotts that are taking place, just like we've seen on college campuses and everywhere else. But that's exactly why I'm so excited to work with CPOR and to address these issues and to create content that we might have to fight for distribution. We might have to be aggressive in how we look at it, but that's the opportunity. And you know me for a long time, and I've always said we have a responsibility and an obligation to use our voices and to use our platforms to make a difference. And I see working with CPOR and helping them achieve their success as an opportunity. So I don't want to double down on the challenges. I really want to embrace the opportunity to present a different Israel and to achieve the success I know we can achieve.
You mentioned earlier the work of Sipur and the focus of their content is very much a fit with a lot of what you're doing through your foundation. Can you elaborate about what are the priorities for that foundation?
My foundation is very much focused on addressing the issues of racism and anti Semitism that exist around the world today. Also, very focused on civic education and bringing people together who can come up with that common vision, who can understand that when you sit across the table from somebody one on one, it's very hard to hate them. So, my foundation is very focused on trying to scale one on one relationships to have an impact on the issues that concern all of us. I was just involved with a conference last week in DC called MEAD, which is the Middle East American Dialogue, where we bring people together from several countries and we have a discussion and we network. And the programs that I'm creating in my foundation do that both with young children, with teens, with families, with teachers. And I really think we can make a difference one person at a time, but it takes a long time.
Certainly that work is needed more than ever. Again, I know it's early yet and you just went through a very big transaction, but is there anything at all business-wise that is on your radar?
Honestly, as I said, I was not looking for another business opportunity. I think right now I really do want to focus on my foundation, on my family, have a little bit more of a personal life. So you never know what life brings. But as I was not out there looking for support and it just happened, and I don't rule anything out, but I feel like I have a really good life right now. I'm very excited about the work I'm going to be doing in Israel, both with CPOR and philanthropically. I'm very excited about the work my foundation is doing here in this country and in other countries as well. So I've got my plate pretty full.
We know you're gonna stay busy. Advance It Capital, I know that was really important to you. You seeded a lot of cool companies. Is that still going?
It is still existing. Our latest fund is more around crypto and AI. And to be honest, if you want to be involved in crypto and AI, it's something you really need to do full time. You can't kind of dip your feet in. So I'm still very involved with some of our portfolio companies who continue to exist. But my son-in-law has really taken the lead on a lot of, what we're doing going forward.
Sherry, is there anything else you'd like to say in terms of what you're doing in the immediate future?
No, I just ask everybody to, as I said before, use their voices and use their platform to make a better world for the next generation, because we do have an opportunity here, but we have to come together. We can't keep pulling ourselves apart.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Now we'll hear from Variety's Todd Spangler and Joe Otterson. They break down the latest at the studio and network that Shari Redstone just sold. Paramount has surprised the industry by letting it be known that they are preparing a big money offer to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. Todd Spangler and Joe Otterson, thank you both for joining me.
Hello. Great to be here as always.
So much to talk about. I can't remember a period when more studios and assets have been in play. As regular listeners of Daily Variety know, there's a lot going on with Paramount and Skydance, those two companies that just came together. And wouldn't you know it, David Ellison has sent a trial balloon saying that Paramount is going to field a formal offer for Warner Brothers Discovery in the near future. We're still waiting for that as we record here on Tuesday afternoon, but it is very clear that is in fact happening. Joe, I also want to talk about your story that dug into mood, the vibe at CBS. The network was very much in the crosshairs of the merger process between Paramount and Skydance. And so we sent you on a mission to figure out what's the mood, how are people feeling. Let's start on the deal-making side. The dust had just settled of Paramount Skydance, and now it seems like David Ellison wants more. Todd, it's been about a week since this news broke. What's really going on here?
The more you look at it, the tea leaves suggest that a roll-up of Warner Brothers Discovery was in the cards all along. That this was the grand vision of David Ellison and the folks at Redbird Capital, along with, David's father, Larry Ellison, one of the richest people in the world. So it makes some sense, it really does, to gain scale on streaming, and they can consolidate the studio operations, really become a major player. That's the logic anyway.
Mm-hmm. For a decade now, we've been writing stories saying Paramount is small by comparison to its larger rivals. And in this sale process, Skydance talked up Paramount and all of its many assets. It has an enormous library, and that's a huge asset. But this desire so quickly to go after Warner Brothers is both an admission that Paramount on its own is too small to be competitive at the level that David Ellison clearly wants to compete. Now that you've had a chance to report and talk to people, Todd, why are they doing this now versus waiting till sometime next year when Warner's is already planning to become a smaller company by spinning off CNN and TNT and TBS and all their other older linear cable networks into a separate company? Why did Ellison make this move now?
The street interprets this as they want to preempt a bidding war for HBO and the streaming assets and the studio side of the business. So by moving now, they get in front of other potential bidders who would want to cherry pick, in the words of one of the analysts, just the most attractive assets and by the way, a lot of the debt. Warner Brothers has a tremendous amount of debt. It's 35.6 billion gross debt as of the end of June. A lot of that would be going to Discovery Global in this split-up plan.
That's the name of the channels company that will be spun off, right?
So the standalone Warner Brothers would be not as highly leveraged and make it a more attractive acquisition target. That would mean a bidding process that might include Netflix, it might include Apple, it might include Comcast or Amazon. Any number of players might really want to go after this incredibly valuable asset, which the market has responded to, driving the stock price up.
Joe, as I talk to people about this, the thing that I hear, especially here in Hollywood in the talent community, is EGAD that would take out a whole other buyer. That the consolidation of Warner Brothers and Paramount would definitely mean there's one less big buyer in town. What are you hearing?
That's definitely a major concern. I mean, you're already seeing this massive contraction that we've been writing about for a long time now in terms of the days of 500 or 600 scripted shows on the air are definitely at an end. So now you're talking about fewer shows, lower budgets, smaller, writer's rooms, smaller crews. Everything is just be smaller, be cheaper.
Joe, let's dig a little bit into your CBS story from this past week. What's the basic mood, the basic vibe at CBS? After a long period of certainty, there is certainty Paramount is the owner. David Ellison is the new boss. How are people feeling?
The broad answer is the mood is good. People are happy, but as more than one person said to me, it couldn't have gotten much worse, so it was only up from here. People were really struggling under the past regime, and like you said, the uncertainty and just the seemingly unending rounds of layoffs, and no one felt safe, and just everything was just a complete question mark for such a long time. Yes, there are still layoffs coming under David Ellison, the new Skydance regime, but the fact of the matter is, like, it's meet the new boss. Like, everyone is ready to move forward now as opposed to just waiting in limbo.
Do you have a sense, do they have a wish, CBS have a wish list for what the new regime, what they can do now that they do have a new owner that is pumping new money into the company?
I think the biggest thing I took away from speaking with insiders was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. CBS remains the most watched of the broadcast networks, and CBS shows are consistently at the top of that list. And that's nothing to sneeze at in this day and age. When you can command an audience of 17 million people a week for a broadcast drama, that is a very, very serious number. So I think the general hope is it's going to be, let CBS continue on business as usual.
Todd, Joe, thank you so much for your time. As we close out today's episode, we have to take a moment to salute the incredible career of Robert Redford. I dove into the Variety archives yesterday after learning the news of his death at age 89. The first mention of Robert Redford in Variety's pages came in the November 5th, 1959 edition. His name is listed in the cast of the Broadway play The Highest Tree. By the following year, Redford was mentioned several times a month in our pages, and from there it was on. He did so much stage work and so many early TV drama anthology shows. What a training ground. From about 1965 through the late 1980s, Robert Redford had a run of big, big movies that is hard to believe. Downhill Racer, Barefoot in the Park, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, All the President's Men, on up through The Natural and Out of Africa. It's incredible. Along the way, Redford made time for Activision on issues that mattered, and he saw the need for a gathering of independent filmmakers that would become the Sundance Film Festival. What a career, what a legacy. Before we go, congrats to Robbie Henchman. He's been named president of WME's 160/90 unit that represents brands. He's also been up to senior partner at WME. Henchman was previously president of IMG Events and Global Partnerships. He started at IMG 30 years ago as an intern at Wimbledon. Thanks for listening. This episode was written and reported by me, Cynthia Littleton, with contributions from Todd Spangler and Joe Otterson. Sticks, Nicks, Hick, Picks. Please leave us a review at the podcast platform of your choice, and please tune in tomorrow for another episode of Daily Variety.